Welcome to Cars on Call. I'm automotive journalist Steve Schutz. I'm here with trauma surgeon Dr. Stephan Moran, who had a knee replacement. How's it going?
3.5 weeks. Doing way better. Let me tell you what everybody I talked to. That first week was hell, but about day 10, I started to get better. The effusion's going down. I can go up and downstairs. Oh, I've got down to 3% less, 3 degrees less of extension on the right side. So overall, good progress, but my hip's been hurting. And I don't know if that's from walking normally again because I've limped for basically 3 years. So who knows? I'm gonna see somebody else for that, and hopefully they'll give me a little steroid shot, and I'll feel a lot better.
Cool. Well, we're missing our intrepid co-host Adam Sudson, who's away, and we got a bunch of stuff to talk about that's pretty good. Welcome to 2016. We're going to talk Volkswagen GTI because 1976, 50 years ago, was when that launched, and near and dear to both of us. And then we're going to talk trauma surgeon safety. We're the only podcast that has a trauma surgeon who's operated on trauma victims, car crash victims, I should say. They're trauma victims too, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And has actually done research. So that's always special. I always learn something from that. We got car spotting, and then we're going to talk kind of, you know, the kind of car you want to get when you're 45 or 50, you're in your peak earning years. If you're a car guy and you have some success, we're going to talk about that, but not like today, like what it was like a long time ago, and then less time, and kind of go into that topic. I don't want to give it away now, but we want to talk about that because it's interesting. So let's get going, and I'm going to start with a Volkswagen GTI. And I had one. We're both huge fans of the GTI. I'm going to go through the history, which is interesting, but I want to talk GTI, and then at the end of this conversation, we're going to each list our three favorite generations of GTI. There have been eight. So let's go through it. The first generation, the OG, was Generation 1 Volkswagen people. We had Andrew Clark on. He's a Volkswagen person. He would never call it Gen 1. He would say Mark 1. And the Mark 1 GTI was 1976 to 1983 in Europe and the rest of the world, only 1983 to 1984 here in the US. This was, again, the OG. It invented the hot hatch. You could have a sports car with a hatchback and utility, and it got good gas mileage, but was fun to drive and wasn't a little tiny English sports car. It was a sensation. It was underpowered in
You
Europe.
always say it, Steve.
Yeah,
My parents had moved back to France at the time, so I was in Europe, and I had seen the GTIs in Europe, and you cannot believe the impact and how cool and how hot those cars were. I mean,
they were everywhere. They were
they were,
everywhere in
and
Europe.
it was like, God, oh my God, there's a GTI. It was the coolest thing ever, and so I saw them in Europe for years before they came to America, and I knew all about the GTIs. So
Yeah,
that,
I only knew about them from magazines, and I thought it was so cool. When it came out here, of course, I got one. What happened was, it was 1984. I worked hard to get an Air Force scholarship to medical school. I know you got the same thing. That's how we met. And once I got the Air Force scholarship, I'm like, wait a second, I'm not going to have any debt for medical school. I need some debt. So I got a new GTI.
I bought, you know, I was I bought a 79 Accord, and I was thinking back then other cars, and but that's when I got my first Accord, and I did the same thing because I was in college, but when I got the scholarship to medical school, I'm like, boom, I can borrow money to buy a car because I don't have to borrow money to go to school anymore.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was very
Well,
nice, and I had a job. I worked all through college, and I
yeah,
actually paid the car off myself. It was-
it was like anything. Everything was fantastic till it came time to pay it back
yeah.
with time. It was still worth it. Anyway, the Mark 1 GTI was Revy, had tartan seats, not in the US, but in Europe it did. Golf ball shift knob, which it did have here. It was fun with utility. Mark 2 was 1985 to 1982 or 1992. Larger, more refined, still sporty. Later versions, we all remember this, had the 16 valve. So it had GTI underneath it. It said 16 valve, 16V.
Yeah, and I've said that here on the show before. In French, that says soup up.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, GTI says soup up. And how cool does that sound? I mean, that's almost Italian sounding. I love that. I just love GTI says soup up. I mean,
I,
doesn't that sound cool?
that's cool.
That's cool.
It's like, you see a beautiful woman and she's beautiful, but if she speaks French, she's more beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mark III models was 1993 to 1999. I wrote down blah. These were heavier, they were more boring. There was a VR6 option, but even the VR6 option wasn't scintillating or cool. I test drove, I had press cars for really all of them until we got to Mark 7. It was kind of boring. Mark IV was kind of boring, but it was better. And this was more luxe. This was a Piech car. Ferdinand Piech came in and he said two things we're going to do. We're going to take the goodness from Audi and have that shared with Volkswagen. So it makes Volkswagen better, number one. Number two, he had this idea Volkswagen is going to
Wait a minute. Did
produce.
you say Piak?
Adams Hudson always says, I can't go through a podcast without
Yeah.
mentioning Ferdinand Piech.
Yeah, I know. That's
But
funny.
here we go. And the interiors were a revelation in this generation. The materials, the
Well,
quality
Audi
of them,
interiors were a revelation during that time.
yes, and the quality of that was shared with the Golf in the Mark IV generation, 1999. It was amazing. Fit and finish, everything was great. And they inherited the Audi 1.8 liter turbo 4. They inherited that from the Audi A4. 2004 only, there was an R32 with the 3.2 liter VR6, the famous VR6. Mark V was 2005 to 2009. It was sportier, had a 2 liter turbo 4, better suspension, DSG option, which is automatic, but dual clutch automatic. Plaid seats and red grille accents came back, so it was like back to the original one. That was really, really cool. There was an R32 with a 3.2 liter VR6 too. That was really nice. That was it for the VR6. Mark 6, 2010 to 2014. They didn't mess it up. That's the best way to say it. Mark 5 was really a high point. The Mark 6 was kind of more of the same, an evolution. The Golf R came out in this generation, 2 liter turbo, not a VR6, but a 2 liter turbo, manual only Golf R. Mark 7, I think, was the best, probably. 2015 to 2020, more modern, but still kept all the sportiness. The Tartan, the Golf R was a 2.0 liter turbo manual or DSG. Really nice design. This was like a grown-up GTI. You still see these around and they look like they could have been last year's. Really, really good. Mark 8, I call this the screen edition. They took the Mark 7 and they messed it up by making it all touchscreen, not many buttons. They softened it, and the manuals, there was a Golf R, which had a manual like for 6 months, and now there's no Golf R manual, and it's got all the screens. A lot of people are unhappy about this. They're so unhappy that Volkswagen's trying to bring back buttons. So that's the breakdown. In 2008, or the Mark 8 was 2021 to 2026, and it's still going. So that's kind of the breakdown. Stefan, just give me your obviously 1978 when you first saw it, or 76, or whenever you saw it in France, you thought it was great. But is this, give me your everything you think about when you think about GTI.
I just feel like GTI to me was perhaps, this is going out on the limb here, but this was Europe's pony car moment. Think about it. The Ford Mustang, when it rolled out, 64 and a half, was a complete game changer. Affordable, fun, two-door, sporty. You could put the kids in the back. The Mustang wrote that whole category of the American pony car and it exists today. Europe didn't have anything like that. But what they invented was the European pony car, aka the hot hatch. Because most European families can afford one car. That's it. Okay, not like America where we got two or three cars. They have one car. So here's a car that dad can get for the family that's a hatchback with fold down seats. And, you know, it's kind of like the shooting brake. It's like the Volvo VR70 turbo. It's like, the Audi RS6 wagon. It's that idea of you've got a family vehicle, but it's just a blast to drive as well. So you're checking a lot of boxes in one vehicle. So I think this is to me the in the European hot hatch segment continues today because they don't yes they buy SUVs but not like us. But this car to me invented this category that stood the test of time. Is still going today, the European hot hatch. And then there's the whole argument of which is the best hot hatch, and we don't get it. We don't get these cars in America. So, but there's some other very cool. The Peugeot 205 GTI. I mean, there's the Renault 5. There's so many cool hot hatches that that as a first car, it would be the ultimate car to have as a 16 to 20-year old to be able to get a little hot hatch that's 10 years old. I mean, God, that'd be so much more fun than a forerunner.
I think the Forerunner point is not well taken. Uh, but I had not thought about your point about the GTI and the other hot hatches, and of course the Peugeot 205 GTI, which is maybe even better than the
Oh yeah,
Volkswagen
absolutely.
GTI.
Yeah.
That did not come to this country, but
Then
I
you get
hadn't
the
thought of
Renault Clio where they threw a V6 in it and they did a mid-engine version. I mean, so there's so many cool cars in this category. Unless
or
you
the
go to
Williams
Europe,
Clio. Yeah, the
yeah, the
Williams
Williams
Clio.
Clio. I mean, oh my God.
So I think I had not thought about that, but I think you're absolutely right. Demography is destiny, and in the '60s, the car companies said we've got this not only a combination of this bulge of young people that are entering their teen years and 20s in the 1960s, but they also they have disposable income. So they said we got to get these young people in
Yeah.
cars, and that's where the muscle cars came from. It actually makes I hadn't thought about that, but Europe, obviously, they said, hey, we got young people and young families. Let's get these young people a car that'll be fun to drive. It was aimed at young people. And I hadn't, again, I had not considered that point, Stefan, but I think you're absolutely right.
Right.
And it's a lot easier to sell an old man a young man's car than a young man old man's car. So they come out with this for young people, but they can sell it to older people.
Right. So they bring, it's kind of like the Mustang. Yeah, they had the V8 Mustang, the straight six Mustang, and there was a GT, but the body, the car got people into the dealership. Now they maybe couldn't afford the V8, so they got the straight six with a manual. They didn't get the GT package. And the Golf GTI did that. The GTI got people into the Volkswagen dealer. And to think about what the Volkswagen Golf sales did after the GTI would be very interesting to see. What the year-to-year sales, it brought people into the showroom and they maybe didn't leave with the GTI, but they left with the Golf.
I think that, there was that moment in time, and I would call it the '80s into the '90s, where young people, especially young men, looked at this and said, this is it. This is what we want. There was a
Yes.
zeitgeist connection between young people and that car.
And
And
it's affordable too.
absolutely, it was
It was
definitely,
reachable.
yes. And, I was one of them. I could have had, you know, well, I didn't have much money, but that was kind of all I could afford for a sporty car, and it was cheaper than BMW or Saab or something like that. So I deliberately bought it for financial reasons, but I was very, very happy with it. And I think that that was the reason the hot hatch really resonated. It was fun. It had great utility. I used to put all kinds of stuff in
Oh
the back,
yeah,
the
there's
seats
nothing
down.
better than a hatchback. I mean, people, yeah, hatchbacks. I mean, yeah, they're just awesome.
Yeah. So I love that. The fun to drive and utility, and it was definitely affordable. It was cheap to insure, cheap to run. But I think that the moment passed. And as you got into the 2000s, 2010s, especially now, I think the GTI is probably going to get canceled. The moment has passed. And guess what? Young people have said, we want to have fun a different way. We want forerunners. I hate to say
Yeah,
it. Here we are.
yeah,
I don't want them, but the young people today would much rather have a Tacoma or a Forerunner than a GTI. And I say it's a shame, but they're happy.
yeah. They want the SUV, the small pickup truck. That's what they want. I mean, unfortunately, um, that's what. Yeah,
Well,
I'd hate to see it go.
I'll leave it. We'll move on here, but
Are we gonna do our top three each?
oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
I had I've got a really good friend who was a gastroenterologist in the Air Force. I worked with him in California at Travis Air Force Base. His name is Steve Lipscomb. He traded a 991.2 911T manual, and he lives in Wisconsin, so he hated he couldn't drive it 6 months a year. So he said, "Screw this." He sold that and bought a Golf R, the Mark 7 Golf R manual. He is so happy with it. He can drive it year
Wow.
round. So it's got this practicality. All right, let's go through our top three. Go ahead, Stefan, and give me
All
yours.
right. Let me get this teed up properly here. Here we go. All right, so let me do a screen share here. My number three is the Golf GTI Edition 50, the 2026. Let me tell you why I'm picking this one. Well, it's the 50th anniversary model. That's a big deal. It's also, I like horsepower. This is the most powerful ever production GTI. 325 of horsepower and 420 of torque. Torque is what makes a car fun. I can't imagine, dude, you got to get this car as a press car. I just can't imagine that amount of torque in this thing with front wheel drive. It may be all wheel drive. I'm not quite sure. But it's got adaptive suspension. It's got some performance upgrades. It's high tech. This is really complete peak evolution. I love the Series 1 GTIs. I love a 65 Mustang. I'd rather drive my 19 Bullet any day than a 65 Mustang or
Yeah.
a 67. It's like that's why resto rods are big. So I like, but so I'm not going to go all the way back to Gen 1, Gen 2, Mark 1. So this would be here's and also for this reason right here. Look at this interior. Tartan seats, man. Oh my God, how cool is that? The only problem with this is they're not making it in the two-door anymore. They only got it in the four-door, or technically they call it a five-door in Europe.
Now, for the record, that is a 2013.
That picture is?
Yeah.
Oh, it says it at the top. Well, shit. I thought I had that. Oh, you're right. That goes with the next one. That goes with my next pick. Sorry. All right. So that here we go. Pick number two. Thank you, Steve-O. My pick number two is the Mark 7 GTI from 2013. This, like you said, this came off the modern new MQB platform. It's stiff. It's the weight, the handling. It came with a performance pack. You could get a Club Sport package, and it really was quite the car. An electronic differential lock. This is really for the years before. This was the complete GTI. It had the handling, the power, the refined interior, the exterior, and here's the interior that I'm talking about. This is
The
a
tartan seats are awesome.
Oh my God, look how cool. And look at the, so if you're not, I'm sorry for you, those of you that are listening not seeing, but the little leather boot on the shifter has got red double contrasting stitching. The parking brake has got contrasting red stitching. There's contrasting red stitching on the steering wheel, on the seats. I mean, these are details that are so cool in this car that all hark back to the original red GTI badge. So that's my number two choice. Here's a picture of the car, the 2013 front. That looks good today. I
Yeah,
think I think this
I agree.
design looks great. I love the wheels, the five-spoke wheels with the little flare on them, the red calipers, and it's still the three-door. I love that. But going to my number one, the number one for me, golf, here we go, would be a 2000, here it is, would be a 2005 Mark 5. Why? Because here's, for me, this is peak GTI because one, it's still got a little bit of the squareness of the original. It hasn't gotten totally round and soft. But the upgrades in this car, it had the modern, they upgraded the 2-liter engine, it had the handling, the design was perfect. And this is, for most people, this is really, they feel like this is peak GTI. It's affordable. There's a lot of upgrade parts for this car. And this is the one that you're probably going to see more customization and more parts done because the price of this falls into the category of a lot of people that can afford it and they can tune it. And to me, this would be that bridge between new and Mark One, but it would drive like I would. This would drive like I remembered the Mark One driving back when it first came out. Today, the Mark One would disappoint me, the driving. This would still remind me of what I thought the Mark One drove like at the time. So I love this car.
Scroll up to, I love it too. Scroll up to the last one you had, that one. The design on the 2005, I think is way better. And I think
I
it's going
agree.
to age
Yep.
better This, the 2013, I don't think it's aged well. It looks kind of bubbly
It does
and
look bubbly, but it drove the way the features of it all. And
yeah. But I can see why people are really holding on to the Mark Fives because I think it's go out and scroll down to the Mark Five again. Yeah, that's beautiful.
oh my gosh,
They all look good in red, don't they?
they do. That's why for me a GTI would have to be red.
Yeah. All right. I love those. So I'm going to go ahead with mine quickly because we're running out of time. But we've touched on most of these. I think you've got the pictures.
Yep,
Um,
I've got it. Yep.
my first place is the Mark 7, which is
First place.
2015 to
That's third. It says
2020.
third place.
Third place. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
So, and that's because it was kind of the best one. It's modern. I think the design is aged well. It's exactly the one you just showed. And it's just aged really, really well. It's a modern car. You can drive it year round and good safety. It's big enough where you're going to be safe, still tons of utility and really, really fun to drive. So I think that just has to be on my list. The next one I put Mark IV only because all the points I made. And the interior was nicer, and this is a Piaget car, so the fit and finish is better.
oh, whose car?
Ferdinand Piaget. But
Ah,
the
okay.
the reason this is third is it actually is a disappointing driver, but it made that I think it saved the GTI's life because the
Yeah,
GTI needed to become an adult and get better and be more of a quality piece. And again, this car I think saved its life for that reason, not because it was sporty. It was a disappointing sporty car. The next one, my favorite is the OG, the 1983 to 84 Rabbit GTI. If you scroll down one more, you can see my car. I had this exact car. That's my
nice.
car in red, red on red. It was not plaid. It was this weird design. Red on red now seems kind of crazy. Back then, it looked pretty good. I don't know. I love the red. I wasn't crazy about the red interior. The white one was nicer because it came with a blue interior, which was better.
Oh,
But honestly, I love my car. I loved everything about it. The fit and finish was not great. The quality wasn't great. I never had any problems with it, but the interior was kind of rattly. It wasn't that fast. But emotionally, this was a revelation. And this is the car David E. Davis absolutely loved it in Car and Driver magazine. It gets much more love today, by the way, than the Mark II does or the Mark III. And this car, people see it and appreciate it. There's not many of them around. So for personal emotional reasons, that's my number one. But you know
yeah.
something? They're all good.
Yeah, they're all good. But I bought my Honda. This is about the same price as my Honda Accord, but I went with the Honda Accord LX.
What
I
year?
just I had an 83.
Oh, okay.
I bought the 83 LX. It was their hatchback. It was a little bit more luxurious. It was more bulletproof. I liked the GTI, but I was like, I'm spending my own money. I can't afford any maintenance. German maintenance is going to be could be expensive. So I got the Honda Accord. But
It's funny. You evolve and you grow and you have reality. And, I'm sure you think back in 83, there's maybe a more fun car you would have liked to have gotten. Just like in 1988, I got a Acura Legend Coupe, which I still kick myself for because it was great quality. It was a smooth engine. It was a beautiful car to look at, but it was much better to look at than to drive. And, Steve Schutz in 88 thought it was a good idea. If I could go back in time, it would be, I wouldn't even consider it.
yeah. But you have to make decisions relative to where you are at that point in time in your life.
I'm not the same person I was back then,
Yeah,
just like you weren't.
right.
All right, safety.
All right, so let me see if I can get this teed up here. Just hold on for a second here. I'm gonna show a video that has just been all over the internet. And this is the, if you've seen it or not, the BMW X3 had this software glitch
Oh, yeah.
where the steering wheel, hopefully this is the steering wheel, when you'd park, would just start shaking like this. And the thing is just vibrating back and forth, back and forth. It's crazy. And
If you can't see it, it is really crazy. It's shaking like someone's shaking it and they're nuts.
just type in BMW X3 steering wheel, it'll pop up. It's insane. So that got me thinking about, software glitches in vehicles. Because right now, soft 20% of recalls for cars are because of software issues. And I've talked about this show that I don't want to be anybody's beta software tester, especially in a car. Now we've got all this ADAS systems and everything. But so I kind of did to see have the question is, have software glitches caused crashes or deaths? But the thing that will come, as once again, there's nothing worse than the human behind a wheel. Okay. If you look, humans behind the wheel are more dangerous than fully autonomous vehicles. They're more dangerous than the software that overrides them. Humans and their poor decisions behind the wheel, distracted driving, drinking and driving. Humans are the problem. But we don't need that complicated with software issues. So some real world examples have been documented. We had the Waymo robo taxis. They've had 16 low impact collisions. Okay, 16. But if you look at the mileage compared to humans with low impact collisions, there's no comparison. But they did had a recall. They had to do a full software update, but there were no injuries reported. Rivian had a glitch in their hands-free highway system, and they had one low-speed crash with that, no injuries. That's still way better than people out there in their forerunners, okay? I mean, way better. So what is it? What is it? What's the data really telling us? It's telling us that, yep, recalls are up about 20%, and it's going to increase, and it's going to get worse because more and more cars, there's more and more software in these vehicles. There are verified crashes, and there have been some collisions, but majority of these have been low speed with no injuries, and they're fixed quickly by over the air updates. Tesla has had a couple of deaths related to their camera only system. So what's kind of the takeaway? Yep, software defects can and do cause crashes in real life. But the examples have been all low collision, low speed, except for the one pedestrian and the other guy out in California. There's been a couple others with the Tesla. Tesla's a little bit of an outlier there. But overall, still way better than humans. Recalls are going to be a lot, but fortunately, with software, most of these recalls can be done immediately over the air. So think about it. Now you have a recall for mechanical defect on your car. You got to wait for the manufacturer to get the part. The part's got to be delivered to the dealer. The dealer's got to figure out how they're going to install them. And then you got to get in line, depending on your vehicle, to get it fixed. My Mustang Bullet has had a recall for 9 months for the rear camera on it for backup. So it's got a recall that says it, and it happens when you can be going reversing and backup, and the camera just goes blick, it goes out, and then you have to
Oh,
turn the car off because it shuts down all the other systems. You have to turn the car off, wait, then restart the car to reset it.
or you could
So
look over your shoulder.
yeah, yeah, but when you put it in reverse, the camera comes on automatically. You don't have a choice.
I know.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, look over your shoulder. You smart ass. Um, So they've got recalls and they get them fixed quickly, and once again, I know I don't want, I'm not going to beat on, but the Tesla FSD full self-driving mode has had the most problems of any other software issues out there. But Volkswagen, Porsche, Audi, Mitsubishi have had recalls on their backup cameras. Ford had them. So takeaway is, yeah, these systems, the systems that are software related that are not directly steering or navigating the vehicle, they can affect safety a little bit, but they're not big a deal and they're done over the road. Well, so looking historically, one of the biggest software defect examples, Steve-O, can you it has to do with braking. Does that recall anything to you? The GM
Uh,
anti-lock braking system in 1999.
oh God, that was
Uh,
that
that
was
was
that was one of the
thousands.
worst. That was one of the worst automotive defects there was because it actually resulted in lots of deaths.
The only worse one than GM was the side saddlebags on the CK pickup trucks, which led to them having to start the Crash Injury Research Engineering Network, Siren, which I was a research participant back in 2000. So that was one of their worst ones. So that's the other one from GM. But 20%, most of them are fixed overnight by software updates. They're low crash risk, typically low speeds. And a lot of these aren't reported, so we may be unreported as well. But something to think about because we talked about that. and it's just gonna it's my F-150 had to go back in the shop and it spent a total of 8 days in the shop, all because of software.
Hey, speaking of software, and this may be impossible, but I do know that there was a hacker that hacked into a Jeep about 5, maybe 10 years ago, successfully. I assume that's been fixed and firewalled. But the reason I ask is that there's surprising ways you can mess with software. I'm thinking, of course, of the cars. Somebody figured out in Europe you can go through the headlight to steal a car,
Yes,
and you can get into the software system through the headlight module,
right.
and then you can steal the car. And
And you
what
can
the guy,
steal the car by the copying the Land Rover, and Land Rover, I mean the Range Rovers had a huge deal where they could scan the curb from the curb with the antenna. If you left your keys by the door, they could scan your keys, replicate it, and drive away with your car.
yeah, the magnify the signal that comes off the key
Yes.
and then open your door and drive away. But what I mean is that here's the theory that a automatic cruise control that stops and starts and brakes and accelerates, an automated cruise control that we have now, a smart cruise control, combined with lane keeping assist, which will steer. The automatic cruise control controls your accelerator and your braking, and the lane keep assist controls your steering. If you hacked into those two systems, you could theoretically drive the car without,
Yeah.
despite what the driver wants to do.
I'm sure somebody's going to do it. The question is, how do they access it? Through what RF? It'd be RFMID, but how do they
And
access it? Right?
presumably, I'd say two things. Presumably, the manufacturers have thought of this and thought of a way to not, make it so you can't hack in, number one. And then number two, the best way to handle that, the best defense against that is a manual transmission.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't do much, but I mean, if they're going to steer for you and brake for you, but at least you put the clutch in, or put it in neutral, at least they can't accelerate and drive you into a wall.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. And
Hey, car, we got car spotting. We got a little more time.
I know. Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
want to hear.
Oh, I thought you were getting ready. I thought you were getting ready to close us out.
No, because we got this and the other, the good car,
Oh, the
the
good car
green
thing.
car,
That's right. We got,
the
yeah,
whole
we
car.
got,
But the
yeah.
car spotting, I love this car spotting. Go ahead and start. This is great.
All right. So here we go. This is like, let me share. Where is share at? There we go. So this is the car I saw. I took a picture of it. This is the 2001 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Dale Earnhardt Edition, which, as you can imagine, in the South, it was quite a big deal. So basically, what they took was they took the Monte Carlo SS and they threw some NASCAR spoilers on it. They put some Dale Earnhardt graphics, the number three on it. Did nothing to the vehicle otherwise. So it's got the lame 3.8 200 horsepower V6, 0 to 60 in about 7.5 seconds. So this car is a total poser. I mean, and to me, it's just I can't believe this has to be from Dale's wife, Dale Jr. I'm sure. I
Ah,
had nothing to do with this.
the
This
Wicked
is a
Witch of the
money
South.
grab. This is a money grab by Teresa Earnhardt, I'm sure, all the way. Here's a picture of it from the side. Earnhardt across the top, and it's got the stickers on the front. Well, I remember when this car came out, it was so lame then, and today it's even lamer. I just think it's awful.
Yeah, I think if Dale Earnhardt were alive, he would have absolutely vetoed this. I think the reason they came out with it after he died is that he was dead, so he couldn't say no.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
if you're
oh
gonna
geez.
if you're gonna throw it's like the NSX Senna edition. If you're gonna put a driver's name on a vehicle, you need something more than a couple stickers. You know?
Amen. Yeah, ugh,
Oh,
sacrilege, but
sacrilege.
it's amazing when it's still on the road. I'm
Oh,
surprised it hasn't
yeah,
been
they're
crashed.
worth about 20,000. I looked them up on Bring a Trailer and Class.
Really?
They're worth about $20,000, which I think would be a waste of $20,000.
Yeah, it's not worth that to me.
No, no.
All right, we'll move on. And this is a topic we haven't talked about in a while, and it actually relates to what we were talking about before with the GTI, and that is that things change. And not only people change, but the zeitgeist changes. And I think a lot about cars when I was in my 80s. I didn't have any money, but I
In
was
the when you were in your 80s?
in the
Back in the 80s.
1980s, Stefan.
Yes.
And 1990s, we were starting our families, or we were single, or we were newly married. We didn't have any money, but we had cars. Were like, oh, if I were
Uh,
50 and I
if I
had
were
money,
rich, yeah.
this is what I would get. And
Yes.
we do this all the time. And now we're in a position where we can get the cars we want. But it's interesting how it evolves. Just like the GTI evolved and is now probably on its way out. I look at the cars,
Aspirational cars
aspirational cars, they change
change.
so much. So I thought it'd be interesting in education to kind of go through and say, all right, this was cool then, but in 90s it was this, in 2000s. And I made a list of the cars I thought, and I know you did too, but it's instructional because it just shows very graphically how cars that are aspirational, both to an average executive at the time who's doing well, or an average successful professional, what they really like, and of course what we like, which is going to be different because we're more car guys. But it's interesting how that has evolved. And I would say, for a regular, in my opinion, for a regular, let's say a partner in a law firm in the 1970s, they would want a Cadillac Eldorado. In the 1980s, they want probably Mercedes SL or a Mercedes SEL sedan, or the little coupe convertible. In the 90s, they'd all want a Lexus. In the 2000s, now we're looking at SUVs. They may want an Escalade or BMW X5. And I think now it's kind of the same thing, a Yukon Denali, or
F-150.
an F-150 Platinum.
Platinum, yeah.
That's a good point. Or a BMW X5, and or a Mercedes SUV, or a Lexus SUV. And it's interesting. That's quite an evolution.
Yes.
You got to say more than yes.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, so cause we had the reason was I had Brad brain floss going on when you were talking about that. I'm
Your
thinking
brain's
about
going like this, like the steering wheel.
it's like the steering wheel because I'm thinking about because I misread your thing. I only did the car for 21, but I got to thinking, what I wanted at 21 is not what I
Well,
wanted at 31, which is
when I
not
go
what I
through
wanted.
mine, when I go through mine, you can tell me what you would have.
Yeah, because I got the 21 part, but I forgot about the rest. I didn't. So, that's why I had the mental pause because my brain was thinking, the car I wanted at 21, then at 31, and the car I want today have absolutely changed. But you expect that. But it's interesting how it has changed because of the bottom line, I'm wanting the same ultimate expression of that vehicle, but perhaps that vehicle has changed, the format of that vehicle has changed based upon my age.
I think that car guys want a good driving experience,
Yes.
but what that means as you age changes. You want a different
Yep.
type of driving experience,
Yes.
and a different thing. Put my list up, and you can kind of
Yep.
react as we go through it.
Yep.
And
I'll go because I'll just parallel you.
yeah,
Um,
so start with the one, and I changed it to 25 because I thought that was a better age. But 21 would be the same. What you wanted at 21 would be the same as what you wanted at
okay.
25.
All right. I thought I had it pulled up here. Just keep talking. Car goals. Here we go. All right. So when you're 25.
And what we're talking about time wise would be, as you're bringing that up, when you were 21, that would be,
Yep.
early 80s.
Yep. There we go. Here's
And
yours.
yeah, so show yours first, and then we'll go to mine
Okay.
because mine's going to be more sequential.
All right.
But
So yours. So I started off when I was as to when I was 21. So 21 would have put me as a junior in college. And back then in junior college, the rich guys were driving a car like this I saw today in Birmingham. This is a 325i. And then here was a convertible version, and they both had disabled veteran tags, so it's the same guy. And loved those wheels, those kind of like BBS style wheels at the time.
yes,
So that was aspirational, but that was not big aspirational. The other car at that time that you saw a ton were these 300s, these Mercedes Benz.
I think it's W123 is
The
the,
W123 platform.
and
But they were
they,
too stodgy for me at the time.
yeah,
But my peak car at this age, 21,
yeah.
the first couple years of medical school, I I said I told myself every day, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to work hard. One day I will own a 911 SC Guards Red convertible. Absolutely. This was the car for as all through high school. The minute the SCs, this was the ultimate aspirational car for me. And then a buddy of mine's got an SC, and he had an SC, then he's got the turbo. I drove it. I'm like, I don't want that car. I hated the way it drove. It drove like a
Yeah.
freaking truck. It was hard to drive. It was uncomfortable. Your feet were off to the right. I'm like, I don't want that anymore. But this for years, I mean, I would say at least all through college and medical school, which would put me up to 25. This is what I thought I would be dry. I thought this was going to be in my garage right now in my collection.
Amen. Yeah, that's a great choice. All those are good choices. And it does show how things really change. And I would say this, the reason we thought about those cars is that we love cars. And the reason that we worked so hard for so long is so that we could get one of these cars after the mortgage and the
Yes.
tuitions and the soccer payments and
Yes.
all the stuff you have to do and you know, updating your kitchen and updating your bathrooms and all that. Once you get through that, we're all thinking, okay, now we want to get a car. Well, if you're not thinking about what you want to get, you're not going to know what to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, go
Exactly.
ahead and show my list, and I'll kind of go through it. And you can, like I said, react to it because
Yep.
it does change.
Yes.
I was so into the BMW 535i, and I
I
was 100% sure that when I was 50,
I was not into the five because of the 528, the 535, but when they came out with the very first when I saw my very first M5 in 19, it was in the doctor's lot at Caraway Methodist, would have been
it
probably
was 88.
88. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. These cars were okay to me, but when they did the M5, I'm like, oh yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I love the M5. I didn't like that you could only get it in black with a tan interior. It was kind of a downer for me.
I love black and tan. I love that combination.
I like it now.
Yeah.
But mostly what I didn't like was they were so expensive. And I
Oh, they were
liked that I could
ridiculous.
yeah,
Those
it was
are,
really expensive. It was probably 50% more than the 535i.
yeah.
And I really liked the 535i because you get 80% of the performance and then 100% of the interior and 100% of the exterior or 95% of the exterior. And the driving experience is probably 85% of what an M5 was for a lot less money. So that's why I
So I'm gonna
picked
tell you,
that.
for me, 4 years later, age 25, Mercedes-Benz 300E.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh my
That
gosh.
would that to me. So at
W124.
the 300E, that's the Mercedes listeners that Porsche helped develop the engine. There was an orthopedic surgeon at Kettering Hospital, and he had that in black with tan interior. That to me that would be the four-door sedan. I saw that car and I'm like, holy mackerel, that is just too cool.
That was great. Not available to manual. I'm a manual guy, so I would have gotten this
Yeah.
car. By the way, how about this, Stefan? Another car I wanted in 1980 when I was 25, equal to this, 944 Turbo.
Yes, absolutely. They were, and guards red too.
Guards red.
Oh my God, the 944 Turbo, they were so cool. The 924 was lame because listeners, the
Yeah.
924, it's a front engine Porsche, but it just had the sides were slab and round, but the 944, they flared out the fenders. So it had these aggressive flared fenders, and you could get a turbo. And you're right that I love a 944 turbo. I just think I could have one today, no
Yeah.
problem.
And of course, times change. Scroll down, and when I was 35, I wanted a Lexus LS 400.
I
Not
same
not
here,
not available in manual, but this
same
car
here.
was so
That
well built and a very reasonable price. The interior was so well built. It was so beautiful. This car would go forever, never give you a problem. I had kids, things changed. This was it, Stefan.
So I couldn't afford that at the time, so I got the GS 300. I wanted that, but I couldn't afford it, so I got the GS.
I couldn't afford this at the time, so I got a Ford
For
Contour. It
And
did have a manual, but I just couldn't afford it.
I wanted that car for years. Over the S-Class. That was the car for
Yes.
years.
So that's a change. And
Okay.
then scroll down a little bit more.
So
Now
45 is
I
what,
was
let me see.
45. I'm like, I didn't want the 5 Series anymore. The 5 Series at this point was too big. Mercedes was, it just didn't do anything for me. I really
Yeah.
wanted a manual or wanted something fun. This actually is my car, but I got an M3, but I could finally afford something and I wanted, more of a sporty thing. And if I didn't add it, but 55, I went back to where you were, which was, I didn't mention the 911 because honestly, in the 80s, the 911 wasn't really, it was less of a thing because the 944 was taking over. Porsche, to their eternal credit, brought that 911 back and made it desirable again. But at the time, I thought 944 Turbo would be better. I still love the 911, but it needed to be updated, and of course they updated it. Now the new one is it, and I of course have one, and am very 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 happy with that car. So again, an evolution.
Yes. Absolute evolution. Yeah, for me, so what's your current, you got your Porsche, but right now, I mean, so I'm 64, you're a little younger than me. What is your, I know the listeners who've heard this show, they know what my answer is going to be, but what is your current truly out of reach aspirational car? I mean, you would feel guilty spending that kind of money on it. But if you could, if you won if you won a small lottery, I mean, nothing like, not like $1 billion, but if you want to, let's say you won a lottery, you got a $500,000 lottery win. What car would you go buy with that right now?
After I gave my wife everything that she needed, which was
Yeah. Good shit bonus.
needed.
Needed.
Um, yeah, it would be a 911 Turbo, to be honest.
911 Turbo. Okay.
I never really, I always thought I would get an S-Class Mercedes. And as I get old, I always thought when I'm 60, I'm going
Yes.
to get an S-Class Mercedes. I thought that
Yes.
forever. And now that I'm 60, I don't want one. It's too big. It's kind of
Yeah.
boring. It's not that, it's just not a great
Yeah.
driving experience.
Yeah.
I always thought the turbo was too much. What do you want the turbo for? Just get a regular 911. But you and I went to the Porsche experience in
Oh my
Birmingham.
God.
That changed my mind about the
The
911
Turbo
Turbo.
S,
That changed
it,
my mind, right,
it
Stefan?
oh my
It's
God.
a different car.
It is it's insane that when you drive the Turbo S versus the GTS GT3, like you said, it is a completely different car. So I'm trying to
While
pull
you're
it up.
pulling that up, what I would say is, my 911, I love, it's very fast, it's very capable, it handles so well. It's a joy to drive. Honestly, it's an
Yeah.
absolute joy to drive. I love everything about it. But I got into the 911 Turbo S and I'm like, whoa, this is way faster, way more secure. I mean, it's
Yeah.
completely, it's,
Yeah.
it's, when it handles, it's another level over 911 that is absolutely significant. It's a huge change and it's much faster. But again, you're going down. I didn't drive it in rain, but if you're in rain or any kind of conditions, it's more solid, it's more nailed down. It's a better experience overall.
Like you said, it is a literally Star Trek quantum leap to the Turbo S.
So why did I guess you were going to have this car, Stefan?
So listen, the 20 Bentley Continental GT V8 Molnar Coupe. I don't want the Speed Edition that doesn't have a back seat. This to me, this has been my aspirational car for, I would say, the longest aspirational car that I've had. I mean, the Cobra, yeah. I mean, the Cobra's always been, that's, the Cobra I'm getting.
But we're talking really daily drivers, something you can really
Yeah,
use, not a collector car.
yeah, not a collector. This would be a daily, and this is the Bentley Continental. And to me, it's just it's everything I want in a car. And when you listen to, I listen to Spike's car radio. they could not believe this car when they drove it. Everybody that Chris Harris, every single person that drives this car is like, this is unbelievable. Because it is a big car, yes, but it doesn't drive like a big car, but it has the luxury. So this is my aspirational. If I win $500,000 lottery, I'm buying this car. And this would be about the spec I'd want. It's British racing green with a dark brown interior. I'd want to delete the stupid looking fin on the back of it, but this is it. I mean, look at that. It's just, to me, this is like my Bullet Mustang on mega steroids. It's a
Yeah.
GT. It's bigger than mine, but it just gives you everything you want. And I just love a luxury interior. Look at this. I mean, oh my God. So
One of my
that's it.
one of my partners bought and this does play into the whole conversation. He bought an Aston Martin Vantage,
Oh yeah.
I don't know, 20 years ago. And he had it for a year and he got
Mm,
rid of it. He said, I just didn't like it. He goes, I like driving it and I've driven it. It was great. But he said, I just didn't like that everyone's looking at me. He said
yeah.
cars would speed up in the interstate and cell phone pictures, and you stop for gas, cell phone pictures, people ask you about it. He said, you don't get any peace with this car. He said, people are constantly staring at you and constantly taking pictures and constantly noticing you. I don't want that. That's why no one's doing that to a 911 Turbo.
No, and I think that the Bentley versus the Aston Martin, the Bentley would be more under the radar.
It would. It would.
It's just a big GT. So
But not quite as under the radar as
yeah.
a Turbo.
I got one more thing.
Yeah,
How about this Blip Shift t-shirt? Is this not the coolest shirt ever? So
that's
listeners, I've
absolutely
got
cool.
on the black, it's a black we love Blip Shift. You got to go to Blip Shift t-shirts. It's like crack. But this is the 1969 Ford GT, the number 6 car, which won in 1969, and I am so enamored. I mean, the same colors here as the Gulf Racing PX 917, but the Gulf GT 40 came first. I love this car so much that I actually designed and had a watch made,
It's so beautiful.
honoring it. And on the back of it, it's engraved and it says Jackie X, Jackie Oliver, JW Automotive Engineering Limited, and 1969 homage Gulf Racing watch to go with the shirt. So,
Ford won 4 years in a row,
yep,
and then that was it. They shut down
yep, that's it.
operations. Of course, they changed the rules so they wouldn't keep winning.
So,
But
yeah, so Ford shut down. This is
right,
private
John
run.
Wire, I think,
Yeah.
and it was amazing. It's honestly, it's still an amazing story that Ford went over there and won 4 races and 4 Le Mans in a row. And it's a beautiful car, Stefan, and that livery is beautiful.
And I think the only, in my mind, the all-time two greatest race cars that changed everything were the GT40 and the 917. And if you're a Porsche file, for you it's a 917. I would have to admit that the the 917 had a longer and a broader dominance than the GT40. But the GT40 was completely revolutionary for Ford and set Ford to where it is today. I really believe that it set that racing tone that has persisted with Ford. And then you can say the same thing with the 917 with Porsche, but it's primarily been with the 911s. But so anyway,
Well, Porsche had the 917, which was dominant. Then they had the 956, which was more dominant.
yeah,
But Ford also followed up. Ford followed up with all kinds of great racing cars in the 80s and into the
yes,
90s. By the way, rallying, Ford followed up that effort.
yep. So love me some Ford racing cars.
As I get a blip shift email, I think every day, and I saw that one, and I said the chance of Stefan Moran not buying this T-shirt is zero.
And I've got this, the Ford GT car that Adams
Yep.
Hudson gave to me. It's a little bit dusty, but yeah, I just love this. Golf
Beautiful.
racing colors are so cool. So,
All right. Well,
all right.
with that, Adams,
With
we
that,
hope
let's
everything's okay for you.
thoughts and prayers with Adams and
Well,
his family.
yeah, and listen, yeah, shut us down.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening in, or if you're watching this on YouTube, appreciate you hanging with us. We're going to keep doing this because Steve and I just like to talk cars and give us an opportunity to catch up every 2 weeks. So remember, like, listen, subscribe, hit the bell on YouTube, and we'll catch you next time.